What's going on, podcast fans? No live show tonight. I had something come up, a family event, nothing bad. Really good time to had by all, but just won't be live tonight. That being said, got a really great guest. I recorded this episode back in October of 2022, I believe, and had it in the tank for a while, saving for the right time. Today's the right time. You guys are really going to enjoy it. It was a fun episode. I really enjoyed meeting this guy. I'm going to be on his show a couple more times. He'll probably come back. But before we do that, everybody take a knee down front. If you're watching this podcast, take a knee. If you're not watching this podcast, don't take a knee, because that would be a weird paradox. Long story short, I put a lot of, this is going to be a long story long maybe, a lot of effort into getting good guests for this podcast. I mean, I spent a lot of time after hours, just emailing, cold calling, find people with the right descriptions, contacts. It's not all that easy. I mean, it's not a pity party. Woe is me. You have a podcast you don't get paid to do, and you don't have to do it. I'm well aware of that part. But with that being said, I do want to do this for a living one day. I'm talking about inside of 5 years. No decision tonight. Inside of 5 years, I'd love to be able to somehow do this as my only job. Something podcast related. And I think it's possible. I'm putting a lot of effort into it. Eventually the seeds I plant will grow. You reap what you sow. That's just the law of the universe. But I just want to have a call to action to you guys. Everybody out there listening, everybody who may listen, watching, listening. Call to action. I've got a little over 200 subs on YouTube right now. And it doesn't make me feel confident. Now, I'm not begging for more subs, but I did have a guy, my graphics guy down by the mail room of Bobby Dizzle Enterprises. I put together a little presentation just to see if I can get a call to action out there to everyone. A little bit of motivation among the crowd to kind of join the ranks, put arms together, and help your poor host out on getting, a little bit more clout out there. So without further ado, here's the presentation from the Bobby Dizzle Graphics Department. Just want to ask everybody watching, please subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are, just share it with everybody. Say, hey, look at this cool podcast. Say, I will know this podcast when he was from the ground up. Well, I got some really cool graphics guys down there, by the way. I think they did this on After Effects. Pretty sure it was. But with, I just wanted to say, I really want to expand. I want to grow. My goal is to be your podcast. When people ask what podcast do you listen to, I want me to be at least top 3, top 5. When you're mowing the grass, doing the dishes, washing the car, road trips especially, I want this to be your show. I'm not specifically paranormal. I know it may seem that way, but paranormal guests are kind of easier to get than a little bit other subject matters. They like to talk about their subject matter more to somebody like me. Doesn't anything bad against them, more bad against me that I'm kind of an outlet for that bunch. Man, Bigfoot is my favorite podcast. Subject, paranormal niche, genre be damned. I mean, I'm always going to do Bigfoot if I can. I love that subject matter. Don't know why. I don't feel like I have to explain it here. But just, I do interesting stuff. I had paleontologists. I have stand-up comedians. It's all going to be interesting nerdy dad topics that are just interesting. If you like the History Channel, if you like the Discovery Channel back in the day before there weren't 10 billion options of stuff to listen to and watch, you'll like this show. And I'm bringing it to you. I got witty banter. I got a new co-host named Andrew. So just give us a chance. And like I said, subscribe. It's upside down. Have to reboot After Effects. Subscribe. Just hit it up. Hit that little red button, as they say, down there, down in there, and in below. I couldn't think of the word below. Anyway, tonight's guest, Mathew Fisher, a BoomBastic media on YouTube, host of the Mostly Ghostly podcast and Behold the Pale podcast. Great show. Talked a lot about the paranormal. Talked a lot about movies, stand-up comedy. He and I had a lot in common. I can't wait to do more with him. It was a fun one. I've been kind of holding on to this for a good time. Not necessarily. I don't know why I was holding on to it, but it's like one of the good ones that I had in the tank in case I needed it. And this week I needed it. I wasn't able to do a live, so here it is, Friday or Saturday night. I don't know what day it is. And putting this together, fixing to upload it. Bam. So, through the magic of TV, YouTube, and podcasts, here is Matt Fisher. Thanks everyone for watching. And of course, like always, subscribe, everybody. Subscribe and share. Here's Matt Fisher.
Step 3. Grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
All right, we got Matt Fisher here. He is a independent filmmaker and podcaster for the paranormal, from what I've known so far. Matt, do you do anything else besides independent film?
We do, yeah, just kind of the podcasting and the filmmaking. That's it, yeah. Web show.
How deep do you go into the paranormal, as far as in your hobby life and just on podcast as well?
I got the show, of course, mostly ghostly with Ray Booten.
Yeah, mostly ghostly. Sorry, I meant to mention that. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So we do, like, every 2 weeks we release an episode. It was every week during the COVID times, you know what I mean? But now we set it back a little bit. And in my regular life, like going to invest, we go every now and then, we go to some investigations, which is cool. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, unfortunately, you know what I mean? But there's other people within the group that, do it pretty regularly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those guys that do that full time are dedicated. The one I saw, I was going through some of your episodes today.
Yeah.
I saw the Bell Witch was the latest one.
Oh yeah.
Which is an hour and a half away from where I'm at.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're real close. Have you ever been over there to Adams, Tennessee?
No, never. Nice. How do you like it?
I've actually never been. I've sent more people there talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to be disappointed going in,
No, I feel you on that.
But that's such a crazy. Have you ever heard? I didn't listen to the entire episode with what was her name, Whitney.
Cynthia Whitney.
Yes, yeah, Cindy.
Yeah.
Yeah, did she go into about Andrew Jackson? How he had an experience there?
I think she did, yeah.
Dude, that freaks me out. His wheels just stopped turning on his horse and buggy.
Yeah. Oh, it's troublesome stuff. The Bell Witch is a weird one, you know what I mean? With he was kind of like a slave owner that wound up dead, and I think they kind of blame the Bell Witch a little bit. I think it's more of I think there was more foul play. I think there was a little more foul play. I think they threw the name on the Bell Witch.
I've always sort of thought it was more like the southern version of the Crucible.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's in my mind. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force did the Brood Witch episode about it. So I'm like, I get them confused sometimes because it reminds me so much of Blair Witch and the Crucible at the same time.
Well, after the Blair Witch, I'm sure a million witch lore has just popped up everywhere. You know what I mean? That was such a huge thing. Because the Blair Witch the Blair Witch ain't that's all false. That's all just fictional movie stuff. But they say it was based off of the Bell Witch.
Yeah. Oh, that's your chair I'm hearing. Never mind. I was freaking out. What am I hearing in my ear?
Back. It's my spinal cord.
Yeah. I was hearing. I was, what is that in my ear I'm hearing? Okay. Yeah, man. You got what other investigations have you been on? We'll talk about those.
We did like the Rutland prison, which was kind of cool. It was a bunch of like broken down like shacky areas. It's almost rubble at this point. There's still a couple places you can go in, but at like the opening of it, they had this weird I don't even know what it would be for. It's kind of like a hill, like they dug into a hill and they like made like almost like a place to chill out. It must have been like they building like a mess hall or where they ate or something inside like a hill, which was kind of funky. But yeah, there was a lot of like weird energy there, and there was supposedly it was like the spirit of a little girl. There was like two guys, and then there was the third dude he was kind of the guy who ran the show. Like he was the boss of it, so to speak. He was like the dude in charge. And then there was like the next level were like those other dudes. And then there was this girl. And yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we had some mediums there that were like reading reading the room out there, and the little girl had a vibe where like she didn't want to. She like knew she could leave type deal, but she didn't want to leave because I get the vibe that they caught was that her life was like her life living was no picnic. So like death was almost better, and a crazy like craziness of that, the unfortunate of thatness of that, and that the older dude, like the main dude, like protected her, and the other two were just kind of like goons, but like yeah, very creepy stuff.
You said it was
That was
Rutland Prison?
Rutland Prison, yeah.
Where's that at?
That was it was I know it was like up more western Massachusetts.
Okay,
The
okay.
actual town.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
My mind automatically went to Waverly Hills, but obviously not the same thing.
No. It was good though. So you
Oh.
you investigate out there at all?
No, I'm more of a collecting stories mode right now.
I like that.
I'll tell you, the more I get into it, I've done me and Wild Trees, who you've interviewed,
Good man.
slowly becoming like my favorite person on earth from just the way he takes the conversation and actually make it sounds intelligent.
Trees is the man.
We have talked to three or four Bigfoot people, witnesses, and the more we go, the more I want to do an investigation. I don't know so much of paranormal. Haven't hit a lot of them yet. I got a couple of our colleagues, like you know who Dark Hour is? Dark Hour,
I've heard of
Mike
Dark
Rose.
Hour, yeah.
He was on and was amazing, and I think he's going to be like Taps level someday.
Word.
That guy, I don't know what's stopping him from being mainstream, other than maybe he doesn't want to be. That's possible too, knowing him.
I think with becoming too big, you always credibility always starts to get shaky. You know what I mean? Just because of the realm you're in. You know what I mean?
Another thing I've noticed about the paranormal cryptid world is if you actually care about it and you're not trying to be get rich off of it, you don't want to be rich off of it. They become like a part of your family. To dumb it down a little bit, like you don't want them exposed to that kind of stuff.
Well, they treat it more like a gift. The people that take them like
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not so much something to be sold, but like something they want to share with people that like are looking for answers and right-hearted folks.
When I see these guys messing around in the Pacific Northwest in the woods for days at a time, I'm like, they don't know. They don't know about Bigfoot. And you see the guys talking to talking to one of these, like say my name. I'm like, you don't. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
these things are on a different plane of being, and I think that's what gets me the most upset. I'm like, you're not going to find them by throwing a ball in the woods.
Well, the Bigfoot thing, as well as like other paranormal things, like even ghosts, I feel like if you're going there looking for it, I don't think it'll show itself to you. I think you have to kind of blindly just step into an occurrence, you know what I mean, and be like lucky enough to be in the moment of something happening, you know what I mean? I think if they knew you were trying to get them, you know, they wouldn't play to that.
Yeah, they're not going to be found. Wild Trees had a good opinion that what we see from the little grays and the Bigfoot is what they want us to see. Like we're over here, but we're actually over here. They're severely more intelligent than the great ape. That makes me mad when I hear about the great ape philosophy theory. Like, this isn't a chimp that got loose that you just haven't found that hides in a tree.
Yeah,
that's not what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, there's interesting takes on it. You know, the dimensional, jumping out of dimensions and such. What would you, as far as Bigfoot goes, how would you feel? What would your thoughts be on Bigfoot being like, almost like a what was it going to be there? A fucking it's like, you know, how old are you? You remember the 90s?
I'm 39.
All right, good man. Wow, we're almost fucking like smack dab right on
definitely remember all of the 90s, every single bit of it.
Yeah. So do you remember like when they had like Fox 25 would have those weird shows with that have people like there was the Werewolf Brothers? Do you remember them at all?
I remember the Sunday evening documentaries they would have, stuff like that. I remember the Werewolf Brothers, they were all hairy.
Yeah, the
from Mexico.
Yeah. So the big like in different Bigfoot stories that they're I've heard them not being that big, you know what I mean? Like them being like human size. So I almost wonder, like in a situation like that, like would it be some like a case like the Werewolf Brothers from way back when or whatever, and lore and all these things are going to be said about these people, and they would be condemned. I feel they would be ushered out of town because nobody would want to deal with them, sadly. So like I almost feel like a lot of it could be some of that, you know what I mean?
I think that's probably one of the hypotheses you could go with.
Yeah.
Being just a genetic freak,
Yeah.
ran out of town. If it wasn't so widespread from Alaska to Antarctica, like the same story, that kills me all the time.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for sure. I mean, it's quite possible there, there's two different things too.
Oh, it could be many things. It could be,
you know what I mean?
I mean, it's an entire world, an entire history. It could be anything. It could be the Werewolf Brothers do it for one island in the Pacific, and it could be something totally different in Alaska.
The Blue Man Group I heard it was really just a group, multiple groups that went around and did it for money. So maybe the Werewolf Brothers, they took a little page out of their book on that, and they got different ones running around.
That's known as pulling a Gallagher.
There you go. I met Gallagher once back in the day, and I've always wondered if it was real Gallagher or fake Gallagher.
And you'll never know.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing. It's the same person.
He was
Gallagher too.
He was driving a car with flyers taped all over it. You know what I mean? So
Gallagher.
I'd love to know I'd love to know if I ever talk to the real Gallagher. I'd love to ask him that question.
Are they still alive?
I know like the main one's still alive.
He's got to be old as hell.
I don't know if the brother or not is. He's I love Gallagher. He's classic. Right back to childhood.
And he was always on HBO specials.
Yeah,
that's one of the other topics of this podcast is comedy. Stand up comedy, because that was one of my favorite genres of music growing up.
I like that.
I don't know how my potential listeners are going to handle going from a topic like this to stand up comedy, but they're going to have to ride with me because
that's how I get used to it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I got a few episodes in the tank. Tried to get a guy that opens for Nate Bargatze.
Yes.
Mark Norman from Rogan. He opened for him. We saw him here in Huntsville, and I tried to get him on here, and he probably doesn't check his email since he's on the road.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, do I follow up? Do I harass him or just wait? Just hang around in the weeds.
That's the thing. They get their crazy schedules. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who knew podcasting was hard? Stuff is rough.
It can be. It takes a toll. It's sitting down and talking, and having conversation. But after a while, it does eventually start that up and get you.
This part is the best part.
Yeah.
Hey, this part is the time I get up in the morning. I'm like, I got a podcast tonight.
Hell yeah.
Don't even care who it's with. Just turn it on.
Well,
especially somebody talking something I can watch prior, like your Mostly Ghostly show.
Word up. I dig that. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. I was trying to actually found you by trying to find other wild trees, other stuff he told me about.
Okay.
I found him come on there. Yeah, he dives deep. That guy, he does the it's like Wild Trees Appreciation Hour over here.
Yeah.
But he takes the GPS coordinates and does a flight simulator of the things he's talking about.
Okay.
But who in the hell would think of that?
I much respect to Wild Trees.
Big fan.
You know what I mean?
I thought since you were friends with him that you lived in Houston.
No.
And I heard you talk. I'm like, he doesn't live in Houston. Maybe Austin.
We're spreading all over the world. So when Wild Trees gives us the okay, we spread the word of Wild Trees. Which
similar to the planet, to the Viking. Yeah. He's nuts.
You better fall in line with Wild Trees. That's all I'm saying now.
I'm like his background. Color commentate.
Yeah.
I'm his Desmond Howard.
There you go.
Even on my own damn show, he takes over. I just sit back. I'll be like, I'll just forget what's going on. He'll talk about, I'm in here. Hello? Yes.
I even feel his presence now. I feel he's a part of this show.
I bet I can get him on
this
here.
episode, and I'm digging it.
He ain't doing nothing. He's what did he, I told him, I said, man, you ask these crazy questions about Bigfoot. Have you ever heard such and such? Does he look this way when he comes out of the portal? And I'm like, I'm over here like, does Bigfoot have balls? I mean, does Bigfoot have hairy balls? Like, I'm so stupid. It's like I feel stupid compared to him half the time.
Well, you know, you just gotta feel it, you know.
Yep.
Our boy Gallagher catches a lot of heat in the comedy world. Very unfortunate.
I just wonder
Chappelle
if he's
was
still
getting on
going.
him a while back. Yeah. You ever see him on that podcast where he got real pissed with the fucking dude and left?
Gallagher?
Forget his name. Yeah, Gallagher had like an issue with somebody on a podcast.
Oh, I haven't. Sounds
Yeah.
like something would happen to like God, I can't think of it. Not Tom Green, not Rogan.
What did what?
The podcast it would happen on.
No, it was like a dude that he's all. I think he doesn't do stand up, but he's like if he's kind of in that world. Man. But he was like a radio dude. He was like a radio guy.
Well, I'm thinking of Howard Stern. It can't be.
No, it's not Stern. It's like a smaller dude. Not to disrespect the guy, but like it's like a little lesser known. But the shows, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I always hear people giving Gallagher hard times. It's very unfortunate, you know.
I was shocked to hear he was still alive. I figured he went on with George Carlin and Mitch Hedberg.
No,
So I don't think he did as
no,
much. I don't think he did as much coke, if any. Maybe he didn't.
no. I don't know what his deal was. He was kind of like he was like he wasn't too dirty, wasn't too clean. Like he was perfect for TV. You know what I mean? And like because he had some stuff that was kind of far out there, dirty and stuff. But you know, the big having all that big stuff was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like
The
a
big
carrot
chair.
top before carrot top.
I always wish I had one of those big chairs. That would have been super cool, man.
When he's reading the books,
Hell yeah,
he's up in there reading stories.
Yeah.
They did a Lizzie Borden play at my wife's school not too long ago. In the when they did the murder scene, they made everybody put on raincoats in the front row.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was insane. It was the most noirish school play you'd ever seen.
They got some ICP Guar type situation going on over there.
It was a dark musical scene about the House of Borden.
That's cool though. I like that. I think that I wouldn't have caught that back in our day. I don't think.
I was in love. The only one they did better was the Mad Hatter, and that dude was
Yeah.
basically that dude was basically the Joker from Batman, Keith Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Some crazy noir stuff. I could watch movies like that all day long. The hell's wrong with my eye?
Like Heath Ledger is the man. You see the new one?
The new Batman? Oh,
Yeah,
with
the new
Sparkly,
Joker. New Joker.
Sparkly Batman?
Nah, the new Joker with Hakeem or Joaquin Phoenix.
I have.
Did you like it?
I really did.
Yeah.
I've heard people say they didn't, and I thought it was one of the best movies I'd seen that year.
I agree with that 100%. People just hating on that. Very unfortunate. Joker is really good. He was trying to make,
yeah.
He was trying to make Taxi Driver. He was combining Taxi Driver and like you know, it was like a Batman, like a Joker was set in like Martin Scorsese's New York. I like that. Like, as a film fan, I think people should appreciate it for that mindset at least.
And so much tension too, building up.
Yeah, it was great. It had the whole like mental illness type deal, which is popping like that. Big deal, man. Big deal. He's a very, very relatable character. You know what I mean? People were loving him.
Mm-hmm.
He was not too wild, but he was definitely an issue. You know what I mean? But they're supposedly doing another one, which is I don't know if that's a good idea. I kind of think I don't know, but you know, it should be kind of a one and done. I think it might. I will see where they go with it, but
the same one of the Joker. Another Joker movie.
Joker, yeah, another Joker. Originally, they didn't want to do that, but I guess enough money was made or whatever that they request another Joker film. I believe.
Yeah, I think they should just be okay with making new stuff. I don't know.
You know, when you get a success like Joker was, when you release a new movie and it's very successful, I understand them wanting to like make another one, but you really if you want to keep the credibility of that project,
Hmm.
because like it's almost like lightning in a bottle in a way, and even though it's like known content, you know what I mean, it's like still kind of lightning in a bottle, because a lot of shit comes out that Batman or superhero movies, the story, and they either flop or they're big. But that was like Joker was almost different than all those other superhero movies, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like maybe they'll never make it, but there was talks of doing a part two.
Yeah, I didn't think that Joker movie could have been called anything else.
Yeah,
It could have been about something totally different.
yeah.
The only thing that really ties it to Joker was the face makeup, and he was supposedly Bruce Wayne's brother.
That was an
Yeah.
interesting take.
They kind of American Psychoed that portion of it because we don't know if it was in his head or something his mom told him.
I lean towards the mom telling him. I think like putting it in his head, but it's a wild movie for sure.
Yeah, it's like the movie version of everybody from the South thinking they're Native American.
Mm,
Like, oh, you're part Bruce Wayne. You're greater than that. And no, you're just a poor kid, probably adopted. Don't know who your dad
Bruce
is.
Wayne. Bruce Wayne bringing it back. Batman. I remember Batboy on the National Enquirer in
Nah,
the grocery
bad boy.
store.
I remember when he
Boy,
enlisted after 9/11. That boy joined up.
he could have came in handy for sure.
American World News. Whatever happened with that? Got Michael Jackson still alive. The hot sheets.
MJ is still alive. What are you talking about? Don't break my heart. He's still kicking it.
What if you said what?
MJ.
No, what if you really didn't know what?
Oh, that MJ was
If
gone?
I'm breaking it to you right now, like Dumb and Dumber and the moon landing,
That'd be heartbreaking.
landed on the moon.
That'd be bad news to catch that live. I want to be able to contain myself. I don't know, to be emotional or what. It's tricky.
That sounds like a skit. That could be one of your independent films.
I would, if anybody out there is listening, you want to make an MJ biopic into a dark comedy of his life, hit me up. We'll do it. It'll be nice.
Oh man,
We'll get the estate involved. We'll get Blanket and the other one, and it'll be a big party.
I had a Philadelphia comedian on here about 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and he was saying he was not that it's relevant, but he was a black comic, so he knew all about Pryor and Michael Jackson and of course Bill Cosby. And he said Bill Cosby was so bad that had 50-something women accuse him of it, accuse him of rape and drugging him. But Michael Jackson had a literal amusement park in his backyard and didn't have a quarter of those allegations.
There you go.
So Bill Cosby was bad.
He just had those two from the documentary, I think.
Mm-hmm. So he was sitting there telling me that, and I'm dying. I'm like, that's the most dark shit ever, and I can't even contain myself.
It is. It's pretty dark.
That's gonna be a good one. I can't wait to release that episode. It was funny. I'm in here Friday night laughing my ass off. Kids are in another room. Like, what is wrong?
Have a good time. Having a good time.
Yeah, if they'd legalize gummies in this state, I might have a better time doing these shows.
Oh yeah. No legalization over there?
No, it's Alabama.
Oh shit.
There's good parts of the state and there's bad parts, and it's one of the thumbs down.
They never gonna let it happen, you think?
I think they will. They just legalized medical last year.
All right. Yeah, it's
so-
coming. I'd say within 3 years, you guys will probably have it.
Yeah, people are gonna flip out, but I might yell in the other room. So once the right people find out that the benefits of it, it's just gonna change like a snowball rolling downhill.
That's the thing. It comes in and it's people just think it smoke it to get high or whatever, but there's a lot of people that use it for like deal with other issues. You know what I mean? So once they see it what it does, I think it's less of an issue.
It's a lot of big pharma too. It cures
yeah.
most things that this opioid crap does at a much higher success rate.
Yeah.
I mean, you got cancer, Parkinson's, seizures. What else does it cure? Glaucoma, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But pain, nobody has to. You don't have to be hooked on a barbiturate all night.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
recently. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, yeah, those are the opiates are bad news.
They're awful. I'm gonna have tooth surgery on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Had this molar removed. It's been hurting me since May, and they're gonna put me on some of that shit. And I'm looking forward to not having the pain, but I'm not looking forward to being on those for about a week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you use them when you have to type deal, and a week or so ain't gonna unless you had previous issues. I don't think
No,
anybody should have to worry about
never
popping
was
and
hooked.
having. Yeah, that's my take on like prescription drugs. Is like unless for the most part, like if you are getting surgery or whatever, you have some type of pain, you know, like for pain pills and stuff, use
Yeah,
it for as advised, but yeah, just stay away from trying the not advised time is what you got to worry about.
if you're taking them when you're hurting, you don't ever really notice how you feel. You just know you don't feel pain.
Yeah.
Like I took some hydrocodone for this mess 3 weeks ago. I don't even know it made me feel anything. I just know I got to sleep. Like, that's amazing. Get to sleep again.
There's a weird sleeping thing I've seen with people that have pill issues with pain pills is that because they fall asleep in like weird positions. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And like they don't really protect themselves because they're like all comfy anyways, you know what I mean? So like they start to get all fucked up and like when they're walking and stuff. So there's another reason for y'all not to do pain pills out there.
Yeah, man.
Fuck up
Pain
your
pills.
walk.
I'm from North Alabama, man. I know more people on pills than are off pills half the time.
Yeah.
Half my damn family, man. It's awful.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I think I just heard a song recently about a guy that went arrowhead hunting and killed somebody just to pay for pills.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I was like, this is my hometown's anthem right here.
With an arrow?
No, he was arrowhead hunting.
Shooting arrows though, or what?
No, you go out to the woods and the mountains and you dig through the sand and get all the arrowheads from the Native Americans.
Oh, okay.
And you sell them for pills.
Oh,
That's what the druggies here in the hillbilly country in Appalachia do.
Oh, I thought you shot somebody with an arrow for.
No, he shot his buddy with a gun because he found a big old arrowhead. I was like,
I'd rather the gun than the arrow, though. I'd rather get shot.
Where has this song been? All I hear about songs about pickup truck. That is a country song.
Fuck yeah.
Pillhead shooting somebody over arrowheads. I am in. Sign me up. Bought a T-shirt that day. I'm like, that is a country song.
The Arrowheads would be a good name for like the backup band, like Jerry Tiller and the Arrowheads. You know what I mean?
It's a big deal around here when everybody thinks they're an Indian, but nobody really is.
Right.
Everybody hunts arrowheads out on the river.
Yeah.
I'm white as a driven snow. Got told I was 25% Cherokee my whole damn life.
Oh, yeah.
I am not. I'm a bit 0%.
That sucks.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's one of those things. Apparently it's a deep rooted. I don't know if it's a Southern thing, but it's like people who try to pretend they're more American than they are. It's like a deep rooted lore in the families.
Yeah.
It's always a Cherokee princess. I'm surprised you're from Massachusetts. That's not too far. But I'm thinking Maryland. Well, I'm surprised it's not a thing there. I mean, there were Indians in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're the OG
Absolutely.
Indians up there.
For sure. We've got an area of the Bridgewater Triangle, where we had a lot of Native Americans were killed off there and like created the bad aura around the land, so to speak. So, it supposedly has its haunts of everything from, oversized like snakes and birds and you know what I mean, to like a lady that floats down the river on her back. That supposedly if you're in there at night and you're walking by the little river, you can see her floating, and if you guys make contact, she like disappears. They've had stories of like Bigfoot and UFO.
You just reminded me. You unlocked a core memory. I had a guy from there on here.
Yeah.
And he practices bushcraft in that part of Massachusetts.
Okay.
And he said he saw a Bigfoot and has explored Lake Champlain with a river monster. I just like core memory unlocked.
Hell yeah.
Might have to get him on
doors.
Yeah, because when he first told me he was from Massachusetts and practiced, I'm like, where? Like, is there a big park downtown? I think in Massachusetts. I think downtown. I know it's more than that, but
Yeah, and it's got it's got Boston, and then it's got
the
some
rest
big
of it,
surrounding. Yeah, yeah. It's all right though.
yeah,
We
it's
like it.
fine.
It's good.
I don't blame you. You got Bill Burr, Joe Rogan.
Hell yeah.
You got David Tell.
We have all the grades. You know what I mean?
I
A
just put
lot
a
of people.
Boston jersey in a washing machine.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. A lot
It
of
was
the big comedians did they like came to cut their teeth in Boston from all around, and then kind of move up to the bigger cities like New York and California.
They said they hate Connecticut, but like Boston.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what I mean?
They say there's no in between in the demographics of Connecticut. It's rich financial guys or straight up meth heads. No in between. You don't get a diversity in Connecticut.
It's a
I'll
tough
never
town.
know, but I take the word for it.
Yeah, yeah, Boston. Lenny Clark. You know what I mean? A lot of grades. A lot of great folks come from Boston. There's a couple cool documentaries made about it, which is nice. Which is a good deal.
I wear a Boston hat a lot of the times. We go see Kenny Chesney
Yeah,
once or twice a year, and his big thing is the Boston hat,
right.
and I wear it. And everybody asks me about the socks. I'm like, "What are you talking? Oh, I'm wearing the hat." So I have to do like a deep dive on the socks on
That's
YouTube before I
yeah.
leave.
Every now and then I'll see somebody not from Massachusetts wearing a Red Sox hat, and I always kind of go, "Huh? Well, I wonder why they wear that. Do they like the style of it, or they actually like the team, or they like Boston, just the city? You know what I mean?"
Well, a lot of them from '04 when they won that series in '04. A lot of them
Yeah,
bought them then. I noticed I'd never seen a Boston hat before that.
never.
Yeah, I'm not. I've seen them obviously.
Yeah, I
I've never
know.
seen so many in Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Yeah,
down there. And play that
yeah,
at last.
yeah. I rock the Boston hat,
Oh
but
yeah,
only
I
because I'm
have one.
from here. Yeah,
I like the navy blue. It's my favorite color of their wear.
classic. Yeah, get a
Uh,
jersey with the navy blue too.
Minus the Alabama crimson.
Mm,
Navy blue is my favorite color to wear.
okay, I dig that. Yeah, I always navy blue is always a win.
Who was it? Boston College had they they pulled out a win for our pick'em board last week. They did something. They were on there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, fucking always making people happy. You know what I
And I
mean? That's what the
and I keep thinking
Bostonians
that's where
are.
AOC went, and it wasn't. She went to Boston University.
Mm, yeah,
You win some, you lose some there.
that's the thing. God take, God give.
I don't know where you stand on that particular issue there.
Which one?
I said that's where AOC went, was Boston University.
AOC?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
The damn, I don't even remember her name. Cortez, the Congress lady. Alexandria Cortez.
Yeah.
Have mercy, I can't think of her name. I've called her nickname so long, Alexandria Ocasio. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
She had that famous Boston video.
What'd she do?
Oh, she's just congresswoman or senator.
You gotta be careful. You always gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, she had that famous video where she was dancing around like a Hooters girl.
Okay. All right. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Interesting segue. Now that we're talking about senators, what do you think about what do you do on conspiracies on your shows?
We do well, the Behold the Pill podcast. That's the conspiracy show we got. It's that mostly Ghostly can both be found on like wherever you would stream podcasts, like Spotify, iTunes, Amazon has something, Stitcher, stuff like that. But the Behold the Pill podcast show, we kind of just go through a bunch of like, famous and not so famous conspiracies, and we'll like roll through like what's known, so to speak, and then we'll give our kind of rundown. We'll commentate throughout the whole thing, but we'll like kind of give our rundown on what we think the realities of it is.
Yeah, man, I got overwhelmed. I got to loving conspiracies too much
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and shit got real fast. I'm like, all these things are coming true.
Yeah.
And I kind of laid off of them for a couple of years.
It can be too much when they
It
start coming true. Yeah.
coming true like in a hurry, like a book of Revelations coming true quick.
That's the thing, man. Like Revelations, I'm glad you're hip to Revelations. I tell people all the time, I go, you should read the book of Revelations. They go, the Bible? I go, yeah. And I go, it's very interesting. You know, even if you take it as a horror movie, because horrifying, even if you take it as like a horrifying or like a
Mhm.
science fiction or whatever you want, a horror story. I mean, it's a good read. And like some of it's crazy because like it lines up a little too much with what's going on, which is
I,
crazy.
I think it lines up with about every 20 years.
Yeah,
I, I think what it really is, if I had to put my chips on the table,
yeah,
it's basically describing how science says the universe is going to end anyway, or the solar system, sun burn up.
yeah.
It's it's all there. I mean, it doesn't have
Nice.
to happen. It doesn't have to happen inside of your lifetime for it to be accurate. I had a friend who was an adamant atheist. He says, "Well, I hope the flaming asteroid hit, so it proves the Bible wrong." I'm like, bro, that's literally the last page.
Yeah,
You just spoiled the
wormwood.
ending for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's not proving it right. It's that aliens don't prove it wrong. Asteroids don't prove it wrong.
yeah. Wormwood, man. That's the craziest thing,
Yeah.
you know. Perception of like what things are too. Like so in the Bible, I believe it says like a mountain on fire is going to destroy the earth or something like that. And that's what they would think a comet is, you know what I mean? Coming. They don't know what a comet is at that point, you know.
I mean, whether it's prophecy or not, I kind of feel like it's half the other crap I've been spitting lately. It's not out of the realm of possibility there is a prophet.
Yeah.
I spent the last week talking about a Bigfoot coming out of an orb the size of a beach ball. So
Yeah.
what's wrong with a comment that we know is real?
Right. Well, that's the thing with like why reading Revelations is so interesting. Because even if you don't believe anything before it in the book, like that's very believable. I feel to a degree. You know what I mean? Like, I do think I feel like a comet is probably what is the end of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I assume.
it's clearly something in that realm.
Yeah.
The sun blowing up, a comet. It, it's not just like it's going to be magical. Like it's not what I always say. The Bible isn't against science. It is science.
Yeah.
Like science explains it. It's basically the same story written by somebody else is science.
Mm,
A lot of the same stuff. Like you go, well, that's clearly science.
yeah.
What happened? Well, how do you explain the Big Bang? Well, it says in the beginning, there's the Big Bang.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it happened to that, it wasn't in 7 days. Obviously,
Right.
I'm not a creationist. I'm Catholic that enjoys conspiracy, so I'm all kinds of messed up.
Well, conspiracy is fun because you get, there's some ones that really make you think, and then you get kind of sucked into the whole thing, the whole machine of conspiracy. And then you're looking into weird things, like
Now,
flat Earth and stuff
now
like
the
that.
single with cheese is the Kennedy assassination.
Cheese?
The single with cheese, just the regular value meal, the conspiracy
Yeah.
value meal, the number
Oh
one,
yeah.
medium Coke, medium fry. Kennedy assassination all day. It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I could go deep on it because it goes every different direction.
The Kennedy assassination?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that it could be. I've heard, you ever hear the wild one about how him and Marilyn Monroe had to be killed over alien stuff? You ever hear
Hmm.
that one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was.
NASA
There's
killed
so
him.
many fun ones. I don't think I believe that one, but there's a lot of fun ones. Yeah, the Kennedy assassination is that's when conspiracy theory kind of came into play,
Hmm.
and
That's
it's
when they
really
named it, isn't
like
it?
it's really the biggest one when you really think of it.
I
I
think
mean,
it's the best. It's the best one you can talk about and not freak everybody out.
yeah,
That's what I like about it. You can have it multiple companies
yeah,
having mixed company.
yeah. It's I'm surprised that we never heard like more of a confirmed thing on that, but I guess you never would. The only other you got You got like the 9/11 conspiracy, of course, which is probably number 2. That's the second hugest one, and then I don't know. You got the moon landing one. That's pretty big, and I mean, COVID will be a big one. It already
Yeah.
is, but like in due time, it'll have the massive effect of 9/11 and the JFK assassination. They'll look at it like that, but yeah,
I'm kind of a thumbs down on the moon landing one, cause I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, so that's the bread and butter of the whole place, and I kind of just don't want that to be fake. The
yeah.
rest of it they can have.
It's. I mean, that's one you can believe in. It's harmless to believe. You know what I mean? That's a good one. That's like a good conspiracy theory. You know what I mean?
What if the government created the moon landing conspiracy to cover up why they actually ending the moon program? And I've been on this for about the last month.
Yeah.
Nixon, Nixon killed the moon program because he said public opinion. He said the Apollo 13 after that disaster and how nobody cared anymore. They went up 5 more times after 13.
Yeah.
Up to 17. I think 18 was the one the movie was based after. That didn't really happen. But he killed it. And just last week they came out with the sign, or 2 weeks ago, the article about China finding H3 helium-3.
Yeah.
But we knew about that in the 70s, and one crater could power the United States for 10,000 years of H3 cold fusion.
Yeah.
I think they killed it because of big oil. I think they had him do it.
I mean, that's big oil is one of the big people you don't want to fuck with. Like that's one people that'll just kill you to forget about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they've talked about it with this new Artemis coming up, this new moon rocket.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to start mining now. Like why now? What is all of a sudden it's cool now? We knew about it in the 70s.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden China gets to talk about it, but we can't. That's been throwing me off lately. That's the real conspiracies, because that has meat.
Yeah.
That has teeth like a wolf.
Yeah.
And Nick, if it would have been LBJ killing it, it would have been 10 times worse because he's an oil man.
Yeah.
But LBJ was too busy killing Kennedy to worry about the oil.
It's true. He had bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had everything to do with it.
Yeah, the oil company. I wouldn't, like, when you think of all the people that would do whatever needs to be done.
That's it. They're the big dogs.
Oil companies,
They're the big dogs in that area.
For sure. Like that's definitely roll no issue. Not even like some people would kind of let you be a little public, I feel, and almost not wipe you out, but almost let you kind of be there. But I feel like a situation like that, if you rub them the wrong way, then before you even rub them the wrong way, I feel like they'd have no issue with adios. Just forget about it.
If you've got a monopoly on world energy, you're not going to turn that loose just because of some hippie screaming about greenhouse gas.
That's the thing. You know what I mean? That's the scary part about that, But I think that they take, there's so much stuff trying to go green and go healthy and stuff like that. But it's like the money going into that. It's an interest. I wonder if they're just spending that money or if it's kicking back into their pockets.
Bill Burr said, "Just give them the sun."
Yeah.
He said, "Just give the oil companies the sun so we can have green energy."
There you go.
He said they're not turning loose of that monopoly they've got anytime soon.
That's true, man. That's good.
You give them the fucking sun, the bastards.
Billy Burr. Did you see? He was just in a movie recently. I think Louis C.K. directed it.
Which one? The King of Staten Island?
No, there was after that. Like there was another comedian movie, but it was after that. Like trying to think that the comedian that was in it, man, I probably should have knew the comedian's name before I even asked the question. But man, Joe something. But anyways, they're all in a new movie.
Doesn't shock me. I didn't. I guess I should catch up on his podcast. I used to listen to it every day.
Yeah. I want to say there was a fucking, was it comedian there, fucking Bob Kelly? What is it? Yeah, he was from Boston, right? I'm pretty sure. Kelly? Yeah, he came
Sounds
up
familiar.
I think he came up to Boston. I don't know. I don't know. But what can you do?
You can about tell the ones that did.
Well, I
They're
mean,
they're
to
a
a
little bit
degree, some
harsher.
of them with the accents and stuff, to a degree, but a lot of them, like I said, a lot of them did kind of, they grew up elsewhere and they came here for pretty much, their early 20s or whatever, late teens, and kind of ran the clubs here a little bit, and then just before they went off to the big old cities,
Whatever happened with Boston's underground tunnels they were building for like 50 years?
What, the big dig?
Yeah, I've heard people talking about that forever.
Yeah, supposedly it's done, but they're still doing work on it. It's one of those things.
We had guys coming through the military base where I work at, always talking about Boston, just construction after construction.
Well, we had a big dig where they were doing a big like bridge on our highway type deal
Mm-hmm.
that took 20 years, if not more. And even that, like, they're still working on it, but like to the public, it's closed down. So they were getting a lot of hard times. The big dig was becoming notorious for being the longest thing ever. You know what I mean? The Simpsons probably could have made fun of it. It was that big.
Surprised they didn't.
They could have. They very well could have.
You know,
They
we've
did
been.
everything first.
Oh man, we were going to come up there to Gillette Stadium for our 10-year
Yeah.
anniversary but COVID hit right then.
Gillette's nice. You know what I mean? That's up in Foxborough, Mass. I was there like 2 weeks ago. We seen Rammstein in Gillette. I didn't realize they were such a big band. I like the
Yeah,
Du Hast that band. Um, I thought Gillette was a weird like place for them to play, but they filled it out. Their show was ridiculous.
yeah.
They had a bunch of stage stuff they brought in, and it was quite a show. Quite a show.
You wouldn't think Rammstein would be an arena kind of
I
place, but
agree.
good lord.
Well, it was like they had their act was definitely an arena act. I think because they're in Germany, so I think in Germany they're probably like I think they're like Metallica in Germany. You know what I mean? They're like huge over there. So when they're at home, they have their big show that they bring out because I think they only did like 20 dates in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, I was very surprised too. But it was a great show. They rocked
They've
it.
been around 40 years. They've collected enough fans snowballing downhill.
Yeah,
I remember I don't even know who. I've never listened to a whole song that I know of, but I've listened to their albums just
yeah.
from friends back in school. I know exactly who they are.
Well, there was like because of the German, it was like you could. There was a lot of background. It was always on in the background type deal. You know what I mean? And it was very good. It's melodic and like I forgot how much it's kind of like the fans probably wouldn't like to hear it, but it's like a techno meets heavy metal type deal. And like it's an industrial metal, but it's like a little more. I don't know. There was a part where it broke down into like a techno part in the middle of it, which was good. It wasn't bad. I'm not hating on it, but I didn't realize there was that much of it in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I could picture him in my head, and for some reason, every time I picture Rammstein,
Yeah,
I always picture Stomp. I know
I
they're.
could. Yeah,
I don't know why in my head they just associate with each other.
it's a lot of metal and slamming
Yeah.
stuff around. They had some flamethrowers that they brought out on and cooked the dude in a pot. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah,
We used to see them. We used to see Stomp every year when they came to town.
yeah,
The band did.
yeah. I
I don't
remember.
know why that was such an appeal.
I don't know. It was a weird gimmick. Yeah, I remember that.
They did that Pepsi commercial.
That was top of the world now for him right there. That was it. They couldn't go any further than the Pepsi commercial.
Like Michael Jackson did Pepsi commercial. Ball game. Is it?
Burnt his hair. Yeah. Back to MJ. I feel MJ's spirit with us. He's trying to say that he was an innocent man. Speaking of paranormal.
Yeah, which is weird because I vehemently talk about how I don't really like his music that much.
Yeah. He has I enjoy his music. There's some songs that are they're very poppy, of course, but there's some songs I don't know how anybody could not like them. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah,
you
everybody
like
knows
Johnny
his stuff.
Cash. You must love Johnny Cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash is somebody once said something to me before I ever got into Johnny Cash that I remembered. That's how long it's been. And it was like there's people that love Johnny Cash, and then there's people that haven't heard Johnny Cash yet. And I always thought that was the greatest saying. He's great. I love Johnny
He's one of
Cash.
those. He's one of those that transcend.
He did. He had all this whole country deal, and then when he linked up with Rick Rubin, like in the later half of his life, I think they did like 6 albums or 5 albums together, the American recording albums, and those are great albums. There's a lot of covers and stuff in it, but he was like, Johnny Cash is incredible. Those last 5 albums really sealed the deal on him being like a heavyweight, like respect the name type deal.
I just thought about, well, that was Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
Who got busted by the PD for cocaine he didn't have.
Oh really?
Yeah, the song called Outlaw Mess has done got out of hand. he got raided, didn't have any cocaine left, but he still got arrested.
That's funny. They just wanted to hang out with him.
Oh yeah.
That's all that meant.
That's kind of falls along the lines of any cop that pulls over Snoop Dogg or Willie Nelson. I'm like, let's give this guy the Detective of the Year award.
Let them go. Let them people go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're pulling over Snoop Dogg's bus or Willie Nelson's bus,
yeah,
you're not exactly Columbo.
I'm sure they have they catch their trouble though. They have the cop that wants to prove himself type deal to him, and they give him the hard times.
I've always said that's probably election year if that happens.
I can see that. Yeah.
Like I always thought that a few years ago, watching when Ghost Hunters and everything got popular on Travel Channel, that you'd always have these 2 guys that were deer hunting together, seeing this weird stuff. I'm like, I bet they were probably just cheating on their wives with each other.
Interesting.
Yeah, in a non-homophobic kind of way, but it was easy. Well, we saw Bigfoot. Where are your clothes? Alien abduction.
Well, that's a possibility.
It's got to be like 1% of them at least.
Alien abduction would probably work better, I'd say.
Said, I don't know where my clothes went. They stole my truck. Betty and Barney Hill. Why you got lipstick on? Like a real King of the Hill kind of situation with Dale.
Say you need to be a quick thinker on the spot for that.
Mm-hmm.
You go,
I said, how many Bigfoot and alien abductions are just 2 dudes that got caught?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So you like you get into comedy podcasts?
Mm-hmm. I listen to mostly that.
You listen to Bonfire?
Mm-hmm. Crackle.
Crackle, baby. I love it.
Great Big J.
Big J's the man. Dan Soder, King.
Oh. I didn't know Dan Soder was like 8.5 feet tall. He may be the Bigfoot problem in this country.
That could be. Shaved Bigfoot? That could be a deal.
Yeah.
That's possible.
He talks about you ever hear him talk about his stepdad?
Yeah.
Dan, what his name was? I can't think of
the good
Dave.
One,
Dave.
No,
a few years ago, for about 2 years, I worked 8 to 5 Central, and they would always come on at 5 right when I got off work. So I heard them the first hour for 2 years.
Hell yeah!
And I still follow Big J. I think he was on the stand-ups on Netflix. I think the show was called.
Yeah, something. It was like him and a bunch of like
it was like Brad Williams.
Williams was a part of it. Maybe Joey Diaz was even on there.
Yeah,
it was like some darker comedy type comedian. I forget the Degenerates or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
the Degenerates. Like he said, Joey Diaz says, "Blue cheese or go fuck your mother."
Yeah.
Ranch dressing, get the ranch dressing fucking out of here.
Joey Diaz is fun, but every time I see him since day one, he always looked like he was getting ready to die. So much respect.
He's one of the guys. He's came through town a bunch in the last 5 or 6 years, and I cannot go see him. I can't bring myself to go watch him.
No,
because I seriously don't think he's that funny.
He's funny. He has a certain gimmick. Once that gimmick gets old with you, I think that then you start to go into the direction of I'm not digging this.
So I think I should refer. I don't think he's not funny because he's obviously funny. Blue cheese or fuck your mother. I'm there all day.
Yeah.
But I think he's funnier when he's having if we were having a conversation with him right here, he would be hilarious.
Right.
But his comedy gets old. It's all the same, just about. I gave a blowjob to my uncle. Something like, it's like Richard Pryor.
Yeah. Well, some people, yeah, you notice that some people like comedians that have podcasts, even though they're a really funny comedian, their podcast isn't good. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, that's what you're going with, I think.
Yeah, and some are better. Like when he's on Rogan, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
If I get notification Diaz and like Bravo or somebody's on Rogan, I'm watching.
Yeah, well, I think Joe's good to like harness him. He knows what he does best, so he kind of guides the conversation. And they're all like like it's almost like doing a stand up when you go on Joe's show, but it's longer. You know what I mean? It's even better because it's your comedy act as well as like them getting to know you. Which if they like you, they're gonna support you type deal.
So I got this really good friend. His name's Randy.
Yeah,
and me and him are probably about the exact opposite on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
he's stone cold atheist, which I pick on him all the time. I think it's hilarious because I don't care. He likes heavy metal. The CDs back here are his heavy metal band.
All right, cool.
It's real heavy metal. He made them in Germany when he was stationed there.
Oh shit!
But he and I are like,
Shine.
Oh yeah, he's stationed Kaiserslautern, I believe.
Like that. It's my favorite type of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Wiener Schnitzel, later Hosen. But he and I are like, when it comes to comedy, we're like going at the hip.
Yeah.
We go see these bucket lists. We just saw Mark Norman.
Nice.
And Aaron Weber opened for him. He was the one I was going to try to get on here. I still haven't got him. But we saw, Chappelle, we saw Rogan, Segura.
Word.
Roast Master General, Jeff Ross.
Jeff Ross doing it.
Yeah. Because we were talking on the way up to Nashville, just south of Bellwitch. Like, man, I want to see Segura. Like he never comes anywhere. Sure enough, open for Rogan that night.
Word.
And we wanted to hug each other. Oh my god, nipples all hard.
He's a huge name on a huge podcast. His shows, he's got one of the biggest podcasts, right up there with Rogan. Almost not as big, of course, but
Your Mom's House.
Yeah, Your Mom's House is right up in there.
Jeans, pouring anyone's mother into this.
Yeah, you get into Legion of Skanks at all?
Sometimes.
That's good.
They kind of take a weird road every once in a while.
Every now and then they get a little wild, but it is what it is, I guess.
And I'm kind of like got my governor blown out on comedy too, because I've been listening since I was little.
Yeah. And
so stuff that's extreme to people who are just getting into it, because it's kind of new. It's kind of a new genre for folks. Like, well, that was people seem like they might just be discovering it.
I can see that. Yeah, like we're like pretty much really realistically the same age, and like comedy like came into my life probably before anything really. I was a big Rodney Dangerfield fan. I know, like on the radio, it was big up here. We had like WBCN, and they'd always have comedy breaks, and we got Stern, of course. Howard Stern was huge because that show was great, and then Opie and Anthony later and stuff.
Oh, Patrice. Of
course, Patrice. Patrice was a Boston dude. You know what I mean?
They're trying to cancel him now, man.
They're trying to cancel him now.
They're trying to cancel Patrice. The fucker's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
They're trying, or longer, 2004? Was it 8?
Yeah, it's been a bit, yeah.
They're trying to cancel him because of all his anti-women stuff that he used to do.
Really?
Like, don't get mad because he was right.
So what are they trying to delete all his YouTube videos?
They cancel. I don't know what cancel means.
Because I don't think he even has, like, I know he has stand-ups, but I don't think you can catch any of them really on any like legitimate streaming sites. You know what I mean?
I think what probably happens is they take them down from like TikTok and stuff. Because you've got a lot of TikToks that just dedicate themselves to one comedian and play a lot of the best bits. I think a lot of those get popped because they're funny. God, Patrice is funny. Yeah, I think he died because he was just like next to a deity in that world.
Very sad. Diabetes got him. It's crazy. There's so much stuff that it ends up on with the internet. Like if they took somebody off of YouTube, took somebody off of like, realistically, if he was taken off of YouTube, that's where they're getting. It's like that's where a lot of that TikTok's coming from. Is clips from YouTube and stuff. It's really like an archive of like everything for the most part, and there's been certain situations where like they get harder on things and the censorship, and even if it's not, foul, even if it's just something they don't want people knowing, or how censorship is. But like, yeah, YouTube, if you were to wipe Patrice off of YouTube, and I don't say it for anybody to do, but it's just like that's kind of really huge if they could, like, that's what I think canceling out Patrice would be like. The only way you really could cancel him, because all the comedians will always mention him and always give him respect, you know what I mean? So as long as there's somewhere to go find him, but like YouTube, no, if he's not on YouTube, it's really difficult for you to go find him, you know what I mean? It's tricky.
Bill Burr references them all the time.
Right.
It's like his, Patrice. I miss Patrice.
Yeah. Yeah, they came up right at the same time.
What show was it? Was he on The Office? He wasn't on The Office, was he? That was
who, Patrice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was on something else.
The dude from Hot Tub Time Machine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on a literal show that I just watched the other day, and I was like, "That's Patrice."
Lucky Louie?
No, he was on a Chappelle show. He was Lonnie.
Yeah, he was Play Haters Ball. He was the Play Haters Ball.
Buck Nasty.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I put some water in Buck Nasty's mama's dish.
Yeah. Dude, Chappelle show's legendary.
Hate.
Glorious.
Hate.
Yeah.
He was on The Office.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was. He was downstairs. He was downstairs in the warehouse. Dude. He worked with the main girl's like boyfriend that she didn't marry guy.
Yeah, him and Craig Robinson are on there.
Craig Robinson, yeah.
So the Hot Tub, yeah, they were both on. Okay. This is me almost getting racist saying they look alike, but
how dare you?
You can see where there's a similarity.
Just because they were on The Office together doesn't mean anything.
They had on the same uniform and everything, same hair, basically.
They were both, warehouse workers. I think Craig was like the manager, the shop leader.
Buck Nasty said Rosie O'Donnell. That man wears underwear with dick holes in it.
Dick holes in it. The Player Haters Ball has got to be one of my favorite segments on Chappelle of all time. Hate. Yeah. Oh man, I love it. There's so much. The late Charlie Murphy, rest in peace. And there's so many great. The Player Haters Ball. I think they did 2 segments of it too. They brought it back because people loved it so much. Yeah. Chappelle, man, classic. He still has that I don't give a fuck attitude. He's still upsetting a lot of folks. Great comedy. I remember when he bounced off the Chappelle show. What a crazy thing that was, because it was like the huge.
Had a $50 million deal. They were trying to change him.
Very craziness, I'd love to talk to him about conspiracy and like what he's seen behind the curtain and what scared him, what he didn't like. You know what I mean?
I think Cat Williams talked about that.
Yeah,
on some show.
Cat's crazy though, so I don't know if he can be credible sometimes.
Well, that's the one you want, Cat Williams.
I love Cat Williams.
Joe Biden is 96 years old. That man's insane.
Eddie Griffin's good times too. I always like to give Eddie Griffin a shout out because that dude's super funny. Nobody ever talks about him.
Apparently, the comedian I interviewed on here had like a beef with Eddie Griffin for a minute. I don't really remember what he said about it. Like apparently he met him.
I think I've heard comedians say that, one thing that bigger comedians do to smaller comedians sometimes that upsets them is like they'll just kind of show up at a club and they get to go on because they're a celebrity, you know what I mean? And like whoever was supposed to perform just doesn't get to perform. And I want to say that people like he'd come in and he'd do like super long shows. Like he'd come in and he'd be there for like 3 hours and like nobody would be able to go, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like it's not even like it's weird because the comedian that's getting it done, it sucks because they're getting slapped in the face and it's, wasted their night and shit. But like the audience, probably would rather see fucking, unless they're there for like to see one of those people, but like, they probably want to see the bigger comedian roll through. I assume it sucks that it happens, but like, I don't think Eddie Griffin was, it might not have been malicious, but it very well could have been. Who knows?
Isn't that called bumping?
Yeah, the ultimate bump. Boof.
Yeah, they go on for 45 minutes, just kill the crowd and leave.
Yeah, it's tricky, you know. Did you see the bumping mics with Jeff Ross and David
Oh yeah,
Tell?
roast
That was fun
master.
times. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, David Tell. He was on Rogan today, I think.
I see the picture of that. Yeah,
Yeah, he looks
that
he
should be
looks
a good
homeless.
interview.
He just looks like he just got off work all the time,
Always. That's
like from
part of
the
his gimmick.
from the uh from the loading dock.
Love it, dude. You
And
like you get into Rogan?
yeah, I watched.
Good. I like Rogan. He's got like interest. People have interesting opinions on Rogan. You know what I mean?
I've been into Rogan for a long time,
Yeah.
like before he got popular.
Yeah.
Since episode, I think I started probably episode around 700.
Yeah, I've been in there for a while too. I don't know what episode it was, but
I just
Rogan's always been a great show.
I had gotten a job being an AV engineer, and there's a lot of downtime doing that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a lot, enough to give yourself general anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
It's like being in jail. You can leave because I worked out. I lost a bunch of weight. I just had different hobbies, and I started watching Rogan because I had a lot of time to watch YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I'd watch Rogan the moment it came out. I was on top of it, and I remember I'd been in it for about 6 or 8 months, and it was when they did episode 9/11 with Alex Jones. And I just know I know how long I know how often he puts them out. So I'm thinking it was around 7 or 800, 6, 7 or 800 when I started.
Yeah.
Just
Alex
basing,
Jones is a great guest on his show.
I think more people need to listen to him.
Yeah, you know, he just got in trouble with that. He had to pay out a whole bunch of money, didn't he,
Mhm.
for the Sandy Hook thing?
He's insane.
He is like I think there's a lot of truth that he says, and then like he does kind of there is a character there, you know what I mean, that likes to push even when he knows it maybe there might not be anything there, like a you know. But I got no beef with Alex Jones. You know,
15 years ago, talking like him was just funny. And I think COVID made it not funny anymore.
mm,
I think that's what scared people is because the vaxxers, they started being like, it's dangerous to be a conspiracy theorist now, even though it wasn't.
yeah.
It was an agenda that people, they didn't realize they actually had legs
Mm.
until that.
I know that William Cooper, the writer of Behold the Pale Horse, didn't like didn't like Alex Jones. Like they had like an issue where he thought Alex Jones was a fake and stuff. It was
Hey,
maybe
when
Alex
Alex Jones
Jones had
gets
him
one right,
killed.
Alex
Yeah.
Jones may strike out a lot, but when he hits one over the fence, it's a big one.
No, I hear you.
You're like, holy shit, how'd he come up with that?
You get into other gas digital shows other than I know you like Legion of Skanks a little bit. Little bit, he says.
Yeah, I only whenever because I forget Legion of Skanks exists a lot until
Yeah,
I hear like Dan Soder and those guys talking about it.
yeah. Yeah, I like it. The
They're funny. Yeah.
Gomez has a network with Ralph Sutton, dude named Ralph Sutton. We interviewed him on a show I do called the BoomBastic Cast.
Really?
And like that's a really cool Gas Digital is a really cool network for like, you know, like dark comedy podcasts. It's also got like rap real ass podcast with Gomez and Zach Amico. Zach Amico is a really cool dude too. Are you familiar with Zach Amico?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. The he does like film as well, and you know, he does everything. He does wrestling. There's a lot of cool shit. He almost like he fucking and he like a whole bunch of shit. We had him on the show. The episode hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out later this month. And
What was it? Let me write that down so I can. Zach Amico.
yeah, Zach Amico.
When you get into the world of comedy and stuff, you hear 1,000 names.
Yeah, if he,
Just
like a dark, yeah, like he's like dark, like the darker humor, like Legion of Skanks type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, ZAC Amico, AMICO. The but yeah, because they all fluctuate back and forth. You know, there's like that unit of they all go on each other's show. You know what I mean? Like Ari Shafir, of course. You know, he's always on there. Shane Gillis, you get down with Shane Gillis.
I do. I love Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis is the man. Yeah.
He's the he. If there's ever been an instance in the world of a sure thing, what's the good example? You know how he lost SNL.
Yeah.
Best thing ever happened to him.
I agree.
He has blossomed into the perfect little problem child for the rest of them.
Yeah.
Gets just hammered drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this dude, and I love him because he's fat too.
Yeah.
Like he's just not giving a fuck, man. He's making fun of Asians on his podcast. Isn't dude Asian? Is dude not Asian? Yeah.
No, well, the whole thing with that is it wasn't even him who said it. It was his co-host who said it.
Okay, because it's confused me ever since. I'm like, Shane Gillis has clearly got something going on Asian wise. I think. I mean,
Chinese food. The Matt McCuster, the Matt and Shane Secret podcast. That I think was on that show. That's a great show. I've been listening to a lot of that recently. I just actually picked up Matt's book. He wrote a book that I didn't even know he was an author, and I came across it. But I'm glad you like those comedians in those shows. That's because it's like the underground, but not quite. They're like at the break. It's weird. It's like, you can only go a certain place with certain humor. You know what I mean? Especially this day's age with like PC culture and stuff like that. They don't let you kind of go super high if you got a little stuff that everybody isn't gonna like. But I'm glad you get respect.
Woo! Oh yeah, comedy all the way.
Hell yeah!
If I could take this podcast to the next level and just be comedy adjacent, like getting invited to green rooms, I've made it.
That'd be cool.
Like hang out with people like Martin Norman, stuff like that.
Super funny guy.
He is deadpan. That dude.
Quick.
About make you wet your pants.
Quick, yeah.
He at the end of his shows, he does like a comedy topic thing. He'll name a topic.
Yeah.
And he'll just off the cuff make this joke that you think he's worked for 5 years on.
Yeah.
Off any topic. He goes, ooh, the gays. Ooh.
I love his he's great at that stuff.
Have you heard his story about banging his teacher that was on her period?
No.
Look that one up.
Mark Norman?
Yeah. Mark Norman bangs his teacher. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, who are some like on the come up when you were growing up? Who were some of your favorite comedians?
Oh, Reno Collier, off the top of my head, because he disappeared.
Yeah, but, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's kind of he's a kind of a Southern comic.
Yeah,
reminds you a lot of he's kind of a white dude, but he did it. He used to be a PE coach, did a lot of humor like that. Okay. I follow him on Pandora. He hasn't done anything in years.
Yeah,
I don't think, but a lot of my stuff was Comedy Central specials.
Right.
Growing up, so I like basically anything that came on other than the guys that played the guitars.
Yes.
I hated the guys that pulled out a guitar. I'm like, oh, God, this is not funny at all. This is not going to be good. John Mulaney, I liked him. I was a big Foxworthy fan, not to be stereotypical.
Right. Foxworthy was fucking, I remember when he first broke, he was like the biggest thing ever.
Jerry Clower is probably one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
He's old 1960s.
Yeah.
The Jay Hickman's boat ride is the funniest joke that's ever been told, and I'll go down to my death on that.
Yeah.
Have you heard that one?
No. Can you do it?
No, it's about 10 minutes.
Oh shit!
That dude tells a story.
Yeah.
Basically about a rich dude that can't get no ass and buys a big boat and ends up having a woman pull his gun to his head. God, it'll make you cry.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
I'll look it up.
Jay Hickman boat rider. Rodney Carrington, I loved him.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
I don't know why
he's still going strong. I remember when he was popping heavy.
I think he's an alcoholic now.
That's what he's retired into, alcoholism.
I've seen him a few times. I saw him in 2005 back when I was in college. He came to Birmingham, and he was just getting over. He was at the crest of his fame, and he showed up and did like his classic stuff that we all grew up on.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. I saw him a couple years ago, and he's kind of just resting on his laurels a little bit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as. He was still Rodney.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up my list of comedians here, so I don't sound like a doofus.
I remember when he was the big time, like
I wouldn't trade
2000,
you.
like early 2000s. Yeah.
I wouldn't trade you nothing for how long I laughed at the song "Titties and Beer" and "Dear Penis" growing up.
Yeah.
All sound like Carlin, Mitch Hedberg.
Carlin's huge, dude.
Yeah,
He's on my top three.
I think I used to love all the Kevin Smith movies. We went and seen him do a Q&A.
Yeah.
He's a Boston guy, isn't he?
Kevin
No, he's New
Smith
Jersey.
is New Jersey. Yeah. We
Fucking
see
Bill
it. When
Hicks.
he did the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Me and my buddy went to go see him.
Yeah, that's what we went to see. When he did the
Yeah.
reboot tour with
Yeah.
with his daughter in it from Yoga Hosers.
Yep. Jay was there with him.
He didn't come to Birmingham with them,
No.
but I was okay with it because I can't look at Jason Mewes now with his new teeth. I can't look him in the eye. I was like, can you just?
Oh. He came back for you, man.
I know. I mean, I love Jason Mewes. It's hard to look at.
Yeah.
Oh man, why do I remember these? Bill Hicks and his Kennedy assassination joke.
Bill Hicks was legendary. You know, talk about somebody gone way too soon. Like someone, I would love to see what he would be doing with comedy nowadays. He'd still be doing it, and he'd be huge. I feel like he'd be huge. I wonder what he'd be talking about. You feel like he'd be getting political and talking about how things all fucked up, and you think he would have mellowed out in years.
I worry because Howard Stern used to be Rage Against the Machine. Now he's Rage on behalf of the machine.
Right.
So you never know.
That's the thing. You know what I mean?
I think it depends on how his career would have went.
Yeah.
Because Carlin's dead too. Carlin held on to the bitter end. Yeah. That hadn't been that many years ago, and he was still Carlin. So maybe Bill Hicks would have held on.
Carlin, I think was his last stand up the Life's Worth Losing stand up?
It was the one that looked like he was reading.
All right, there was. Yeah. I remember that Life's Worth Losing was like the second, like it was very close to his death, and I was so blown away at how fucking much balls that thing had, and it was just no fucks given attitude. You know, he was. Some people say that he kind of got a little kind of wicked old manny in the end, but I think he was just kind of angry about him trying to tell people this stuff and people not listening. You know what I mean?
He said it's a big party and you ain't invited.
Right. Groundbreaking. There was a really cool documentary that came out, I think, on Amazon or something like that about Carlin, maybe earlier this year.
What was the one we were talking about? He was in a giant heaven full of your Uncle Dave, my Uncle Dave, a million Uncle Daves.
Yeah.
Talking about the world ending.
Yeah. Carlin really, another dude who I would love to hear like his take on everything going on. You know, him and Hicks mainly, probably. Those are the two big ones that I could think of because they would have a lot to say. And Patrice, I'd have to put Patrice in that too because I'd love to hear what he'd have to say about, you know, everything going on nowadays.
Probably listen to 6 hours of Patrice talk about COVID.
It would be.
This Anthony Fauci motherfucker.
You know, you get down with Anthony Cumia show at all?
I should. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was Anthony from Opie and Anthony.
Oh,
when they split off. Now, I heard recently they were talking about like someone made a observation that if like Patrice was still here, that he would possibly be doing, he'd be like co-hosting with Anthony, which would be like, that would be ridiculous. That'd be great. You know what I mean? I would like to see that. I heard Artie Lang. Do you hear about Artie Lang almost passing away? There was like speculation of him passing away yesterday. And I love Artie Lang.
Oh, recently? No. I knew he was sick a long time ago.
No, like a couple of days ago. I don't know if it was like a picture of Howard Stern's Twitter or something doing an announcement that, you know, he was rushed to the hospital or whatever, but I haven't heard anything else after it. So I don't know if it was a real thing and he's okay or if it was just all like a fakie. But yeah,
he's almost one of those guys. Yeah, he's almost one of those guys you're shocked to hear he's still alive.
Yeah,
like holy shit.
Yeah, he did. He beat Sagan and Norm in the Dirty Work. He's the Dirty Work survivor. You know what I mean? And Jack Warden, he beat Jack Warden for crying out Artie's like incredible because he's so quick. Like when you watch, even when he was like on the drugs, even when he was shooting dope, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
The dude was like rapid fire quickness and funny. You know, he'd go a little too far sometimes too, people might say, but you know, I don't think people go too far, but I know other people feel that people go too far. But yeah, it's tragic. You know, I'd love to hear him like clean, see how quick he could be, you know what I mean? And
He reminds me a lot of Tim Kennedy.
yeah.
Like I get those two confused a lot. Just some of their comedy a little bit.
Yeah.
Just quick witted. Don't give a flying hell about it.
Yeah. That's the thing. You know, just super duper quick. You get into dice, you like the dice man?
Hey little Miss Muppet.
Yeah. Right
So
on
I
the top
said,
of
hey,
it, yeah.
I'm
Hey.
I was always real big into people, people like Carl and basically anybody that came on those Comedy Central specials. And then they
Yeah.
had the late night ones that come on, Shorties watching Shorties, stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah. I forgot all about Shorties watching
Shorties
Shorties. That
watching
was a good show.
Shorties. Those were the best. I
Those
had
were
old school Bill Burr when he had hair,
yeah.
just angry at the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Those were the best.
Those were the best. You get in, you like Dangerfield, you like Rodney?
Oh yeah, get a
Rodney's
room,
probably
get
my
a
favorite.
warehouse.
Yeah. Rodney's probably my favorite ever, my top favorite comedian of all time. I love Rodney Dangerfield.
I'm going through these
Pryor.
lists, people I've forgotten about.
You got Richie Pryor. You didn't bring up Richard Pryor yet. You know, he's in my top three.
Oh, I brought
Rodney
him.
Pryor and
The
Carlin.
the comedian I interviewed had Pryor at his house growing up.
Oh, really?
His dad knew Richard Pryor. So
Interesting.
he's just like, I thought everybody knew Richard Pryor. I'm like, no, he was a Philly comedian.
Oh, dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
We've had a few people on the BoomBastic Cast show because it's more of like an entertainment show. That one's on YouTube and the audio deals. And you know, they always say Richard Pryor was a really nice guy. You know, I've heard other stories that were a little different than that, but I don't know. I think you know him and like Gene Wilder never got along. That was always fun.
Oh,
I guess,
really?
yeah, they didn't like each other. I don't know if it was the whole way or just towards the end or whatever. When probably when Richard's drugs were fucking getting out of control, I'd assume. But maybe, who knows? You never know.
I could see that because of even your best friend on that many drugs.
Yeah,
enough to kill him's got to be kind of insufferable.
and I'm sure he was very difficult.
That must have been why he wasn't on Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka is the way to do it. The best Pryor Wilder vehicle of them together, I think, is Hear No Evil, See No Evil.
Yeah,
I love that movie with Kevin Spacey. You know what I mean?
Imagine Pryor on Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, he was supposed to be that. Yeah.
Yeah, God, that was insane. You can go down these rabbit holes of Blazing Saddles now because it's like the mountaintop of anti-council culture.
Yeah.
It's like a whole subgenre.
It's weird because everybody loves it. Like if you went back 10 years, everybody would tell you they love it. And nowadays they go, like it'd be on everybody's top like 10 list for sure. I think for people comedy that, you know, Mel Brooks was the king for a long time with that stuff.
Have you ever seen the little video of Blazing Saddles adjusted for 2022?
No.
It's just the intro and the credits.
I believe that. Yeah. That's funny.
God, that was so good.
It's true.
I could sit there and talk about comedy all day. Let me ask you something. We'll try to wrap up soon.
Okay.
We've hit all the fun topics, and I don't want to leave a bad taste in your mouth. He just sat there and stared at me.
Yeah.
But how do you get those kind of people on? Like the not like Dave Chappelle level, but layer 2 comedians.
I think you just kind of reach out. You got to reach out. You know.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say. I do work.
That's how we've always gathered all our guests. Be persistent. Sometimes it takes a bit. You know, I've waited like a year. I've gone back and forth like a year. No bullshit, like a year, 365 days of like just messaging back and forth, working it out, having an issue, but like not, you got to be able to handle the situation appropriately and don't get angry over people cancellations.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
it's
it's
all
mainly
fluid.
just yeah. Mainly just like keeping up with it. You hit them up and have a good try and be cool with them.
I haven't been doing this a terribly long time, since 2019 off and on, but I found out if you start, like you and I were texting back and forth,
Yeah.
I start that with all my guests. Like we have like conversations like we're friends for
Yeah.
15 years, and it makes it a little easier.
I agree completely. No, when it's a complete blind, when you don't know what you're getting into, it can be a little I don't know. Yeah, I'm used. I've done a lot of these things by now, so like I'm not too. But in the beginning, yeah, when you don't know what you're getting into, it's kind of
Hmm.
nerve wracking because it's
It's kind of
like,
fun too. It's
yeah,
adrenaline. I leave these things, but sometimes when I first started, my hands would be shaking.
yeah,
But I've been taking the approach like I'm a comedian coming up, like I'm doing these 3 to 4 times a week.
word,
Even if I'm just like a guest or like the fifth square in a panel,
yeah,
I don't mind. I don't mind. Like, you want to be on? Yeah, I don't even have to talk. Or sometimes with Wild Trees, I'll get on there and I'll chat and make
yeah,
comment and keep his chat window fired up.
word up.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep. I'm getting a little bit better.
You want to do stand up? Do you want to like eventually move into stand up, or what? What?
I think I'd like to try it.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't really want to put the time into it to be good, but I think if I could, tinker with it like like a guy who does woodwork in his garage,
yeah,
makes a chest of drawers every once in a while.
yeah. No, I feel yeah,
If I could put together 20 minutes someday, I think it'd be kind of cool because I'm funny anyway, but I don't really want to put in 10, 12 hours a week.
well, that's the thing. You gotta.
Yeah.
The people that do it would hate you for
Yeah.
saying that.
Well, I know that's why I'm not going to disrespect them. Say I want to.
Nah, you're a good
They'll
man.
do 12 sets a week, every week, 10
Yeah.
years. But
That's the thing, it's like, yeah, yeah, it's definitely it's a fucking, and that you do put in all that time, and sometimes they don't even make it. You know what I mean? Much like everything, I guess.
I
It's
find it
it's
fascinating
crazy though, yeah.
the way they discuss it on Rogan and all those comedy podcasts about how they have to do their chops,
Yep.
get their sets in and get their reps in. I'll sit there and listen to that because I do jujitsu
Hmm.
when I'm not up all night with tooth pain,
Yeah.
and that's the closest thing, like when they talk about it, because a lot of those guys do it as well, especially Rogan.
Yeah.
And it's just like scraping by it every little. Take you 6, 8 weeks to get one little thing down. And like I recently just got promoted a couple levels, and so I appreciate how they think about the chops and growing the bits and the reps.
Yeah.
And they're talking about getting what's the word, a tag that they use for a
Yeah.
joke, when they get a
Yeah.
tag and they just expand upon it. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit, that's like a whole science.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a deep sacrifice that they make, as
Mhm.
well as like there's work, that's real work that's put into how to phrase things, the appropriate time you wait for a beat, you know what I mean? Like how to read a crowd. There's definitely a science to it.
I think I would rather expand on this
Yeah,
and kind of like a marketing media platform rather than maybe do that as a fun hobby to see if I can't get to the equivalent of a two-star white belt.
word.
Just
But
be good enough to talk in front of a crowd and not pee my pants.
well, this day and age, you blow up with the podcast and then you do whatever the fuck you want to do. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, you see a lot of these dudes, they come up with something like, especially like you who has multiple platforms.
Hmm.
You get I've been studying it, and I've got not that it matters and or you can see, but I've all my favorite just the people I listen to the most. I go through and tally up how much they have on every platform,
Word.
and it seems like anywhere from 10 to 50 to 100K is the magic number, and I don't understand. It doesn't correlate.
Yeah.
Like you get somebody on TikTok with 10,000 followers, they're selling merch. Like, how does that work?
I think at a certain point TikTok might contact them for
Yeah, well, they have the creator
commercials
fund
and
too.
shit. That's what YouTube is. Like after you get, I think, 1,000 subscribers, that's when you're able to start making money, because they want to, they're putting the commercials in front of, which is weird because I've seen people with, 10,000 subscribers, and then you go look at the videos and there's like three watches on the
Mhm.
videos, you know what I mean? So like I don't really know how that kind of works. You
They
know what I mean?
grandfathered me in for a few years,
Yeah,
and I was making about $120 every 3 months
there you
because
go.
I made like half a dozen really good recipe videos at one
Yeah,
point, and I did a life hack video on a Keurig, and so I was like making a half a truck payment every couple of months. I was like, "Hey, look at there, YouTube."
that's cool. And you
But
got big hits on them?
yeah, I would get. I think one got 600,000 or 800,000,
Word.
and I got one where I made this pizza out of eggs. I,
Okay.
I can't even remember what the fuck it was about, but it got a ton of videos, and I would get 100. I'd get about $60 to $80 a month,
That's cool.
and then they found a way to shaft me and
Of course.
ungrandfather me, and said
Yeah,
your
that
account's been canceled due to inactivity. I'm like, man, fuck y'all. We don't want to keep making them. What is this?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's what they did in that in between time. They worked hard on finding a
mhm.
way to get you out of there. I would
They
have done
did.
it.
I was grandfathered in for years, but I'm close to the mark anyway. They could have just pushed me the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Like the minimum is I'm only like 1,000 views away from it or something.
They're
I
gonna
don't
make you
care.
fucking work extra hard for those. That's how it
They can
goes.
have it. I'm not making any more egg pizza. It's gross.
Hey, if it sells, it sells.
What's funny is I researched those recipes like with I put like almost like a playoff bracket of the top
Yeah.
recipes that I find and put
Mhm.
together the best ingredients. It's actually good, but I made that and I was like, that's the last time that's ever going to be made in this house. Ugh.
Cooking's big.
Oh yeah. Well, all right, we can go ahead and wrap up now since
All right.
I'll have
Cool.
you back on one of these days and maybe I can come on your stuff if I
Yeah. This
get
is a
my
lot of
chops.
fun. This is a lot of fun. Should I rattle off my stuff for people to find
Oh,
me?
oh yeah, and
All right.
I'll get you to email it to me as well. But yeah,
All right.
rattle off
Cool.
where can we find you there, Mathew
So
Fisher?
one of the biggest things where people can go, since we're talking about YouTube, is the BoomBastic Media YouTube page. Go there and subscribe. There you can find a whole smorgasbord of our film works, as well as some of we have the BoomBastic Cast, where all the interviews we do with the bigger guests. The video comes out on like an hour and a half long interview format. Sometimes it goes longer. We've had Joe Rogan numbers with like 3 hour interviews before, man. So like I'd check out the BoomBastic Media YouTube page. And then I would, as far as audio podcasts go, on anywhere you listen to audio podcasts, you can get Mostly Ghostly,
That's
which
a
is
good
like a
one.
paranormal show. We have Behold the Pale podcast, which is like a truther kind of true crime. It's been leaning a lot into true crime stuff recently too. We got Dead Kids of Derry for anybody out there that likes horror movies and stuff. It's where there's a group of filmmakers and effects artists and actors, and they sit down and they watch the films of Stephen King, and they have like fun facts. They make jokes. It's kind of like a watch along show, but it's an audio deal, so you can kind of play it like commentary. We also have the Wicked Juggalo Pod Trash on the network for anybody out there that likes Juggalo stuff. They definitely would like that show for sure. And then, like I said, the Boombasticast, that show's also on the audio. You get Boombasticast releases the interview once a month on YouTube, but the rest of the month you would get every 2 weeks you get an audio episode of the Boombasticast through that. We got a Patreon page for Boombastic streaming at patreon.com. You want to support, we get a whole bunch of cool perks. All the films are there for watching, and all the podcasting stuff and limited edition rare stuff for people that support. There's multiple tiers, and for sure, yeah, we got a movie coming out soon that we're working on based on the Bridgewater Triangle. It's either going to be shooting this if we get I don't know if there's enough time. It's not a winter movie, and we are in Massachusetts, so we might have to go probably when the heat starts coming around next year. And for anybody that wants to get an idea of the films, if you go to that Boombastic Media YouTube page, there's a short film on there called Insomniac. You can watch for free, 36 minutes long. It was like the last kind of official release that we did. It won some awards, which was nice. It's got Sabrina Dennison in it from Alejandro Jodorowsky's Santa Sangre. So yeah, just kind of check us out on the YouTube and social medias. We're either BoomBastic Films or BoomBastic Media or any of the names of those shows. You know what I mean? But hell yeah, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
That was great, and we're definitely going to talk about that Bridgewater Triangle again sooner rather than later. I'm going to get my buddy that was from there.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was such a hot topic.
It's a big deal, The BoomBastic Films is making that production.
I could definitely let y'all ping pong that idea back and forth.
That'd be fun. That'll be definitely fun.
I'll be reaching out. I've got 2 or 3 ideas for a panel episodes coming out, so you're definitely on the list for that.
Hey man, I had a lot of fun. I always like appearing on podcasts.
Yeah, it's more fun than you thought it was going to be, wasn't it?
Oh,
podcasts are
It was
great.
going to be fun, and it blew my hair back. All right, Bob, thank you for having me.
All right, go take a shower after that crazy experience you just had. You're going to need it. Feel so dirty. All right, appreciate it, man. Crackle, crackle.
All right, crackle, crackle.
See you
Later.